I'm back in the city to ask for a new strap for my 6119G. I could have done this over the phone or email, but I really wanted to see the city again, and I found a new hotel that looks really nice. It's cloudy and rainy for these next 2 days, but I did get a chance to try out some new food and try on some amazing watches. There were a couple Aquanauts on display, and while I think the watch case diameter is wearable on my small wrist, I was surprised about how wide the bracelet was, and there's very little taper on this bracelet. And I think the Aquanaut looks more at home on the strap, but I preferred the steel version over this chocolate and rose gold version. Maybe someday I'll be able to get one, but I did not ask for the Aquanaut to be put on my wish list for now. In the certified pre-owned area, they had this really nice looking white gold Daytona. This fits really well on my wrist, and I like that heft and weight on the wrist, and it doesn't look as flashy as yellow gold. I think the white gold Daytona is very underrated, maybe because it does not have that ceramic bezel, but I think this bezel looks nice and gives it a retro look. But I actually preferred the black dial in white gold, and price on this was $55,000. It comes with a CPO box and a creamy white leather travel pouch. Sometimes they polish these watches, sometimes they don't. It just depends on a case-by-case basis. It seems like prices have not yet come down on the CPO market, and for this 39mm Explorer, they're asking for around $9,000. I have the 36mm at retail, but I've never actually tried on a 39mm, so I just wanted to put it on wrist to compare size. It actually felt comfortable on my wrist and did not feel or look too large for my small wrist. So maybe I was too cautious about avoiding the 39mm. I'll walk over to the Reading Terminal Market and stop for some lunch. The market was extremely crowded at lunchtime, and I couldn't even find a place to sit down, so I stepped outside to a standing table. You can find almost any type of food that you're looking for. Last year I tried the Indian food and that was good. This year I was considering a cheesesteak, but the line was too long for that. I didn't want to wait that long, so I got the original turkey sandwich. And this was good. It was warm and moist and just the right amount of toppings and came on a sourdough bread. This hotel has some sort of French theme to it, and from the looks of the lobby, it's looking very nice. I was able to check in early and take a rest for a few minutes. An elegant location calls for an elegant watch. The Calatrava is nothing if not elegant. The classically designed case, the clou de Paris around the bezel, the clean and minimal design of the dial, and no complications. The case is very thin and low profile. Even though it's made of white gold, it's still very lightweight. I can't imagine how lightweight this would feel if it was made in steel. It's easy for me to forget that I'm wearing this watch. This is the ultimate dress watch in my opinion, and I love wearing this with a suit. It has all the history and heritage, and it contains that wonderful watchmaking expertise and finishing that only Patek Philippe has. This can be the foundation of a collection and something to build on. My only complaint is that the case design is so flat, it does not curve around your wrist at all, so it makes it wear larger on the wrist than it actually is. This is 39mm, but it feels like a 40mm watch, so I wish they offered it in a slightly smaller size, like a 37. And the standard strap is too large for my wrist, so I had to order a smaller size, and I went with this gray colored strap from Patek Philippe, but I'm not sure how well this gray works with the dial color. Maybe it's too monochromatic, so this time I went back and asked for the standard black strap in a size small. The room was gorgeous, everything I could ask for. It was large and spacious, especially considering it was a hotel room in the middle of the city. Not a great view of the city, but it was on the 14th floor. It has a coffee maker and a minibar, and it comes with bathrobe and slippers, which is a nice touch. And the bathroom has a separate shower and a separate bathtub. Oddly, the water comes in this milk carton. I think it's mainly to avoid plastic, and it does taste nice. When I was at the AD, I had the chance to pick up the latest Rolex magazine, issue number 12. The rumor was that Rolex would stop publishing this magazine after issue 11, but I'm glad they didn't. It's a good marketing tool for them, and it has some very nice pictures inside. It features the newest releases from 2024, but this deep sea in pure yellow gold is not for the average Rolex owner. I think they'll make very few of these, and the person who buys this is probably a Sea Dweller fanatic and already owns several versions of the Sea Dweller. Rolex went overboard this year with the diamonds encrusting the new Daytonas. And not very much new with the Sky Dwellers, but they can still count this as a new release. The 1908 looks like a very nice watch. I've tried one on before, not this particular version, but for that amount of money, I'd rather have that go towards a Patek Philippe. The new bezel on the GMT Master 2 looks nice, but at this point I feel like I do not want to own more than one GMT. And the magazine also contains several interviews with sports figures, and they're no longer called ambassadors or influencers. I think they're called testimonies. Not sure why they changed the name, maybe it's a Rolex thing. But for the most part, there's still no Rolex on display for immediate sale in the major cities. When I was in New York City, I overheard a customer complaining to the salesperson that there was nothing for sale in Rolex. He had this theory that Rolex is not making money because they're not selling watches, and he had this theory that they're intentionally reducing supply. They're trying to drive up demand, and they're willing to take the loss now, but in a couple of years, they're going to flood the market and make a huge profit. I don't think I've ever heard this conspiracy theory before, but the sales associate had to explain the situation to him. But it can be hit and miss with the different authorized dealers, and it can be a challenge to find just the right one. But I'm very happy that I was able to buy this Patek Philippe from the authorized dealer. I felt very comfortable wearing this in the city, and I didn't feel like anyone was looking at my wrist. This just slipped under the cuff, and it was out of the way, but I still felt like I had something very special on my wrist. I'll go out tonight and try some different food. It did start raining very heavily, but I was fine with my umbrella. Time to check out, but I'm going to head over to one more watch store on the way home. I've never been here before, but King of Prussia is a huge mall and you could do a lot of walking in here. There's a section here with all the luxury brands, and they also have a Bucherer Rolex store. The Rolex section is fairly small, and maybe it was just me, but the salesperson seemed slightly tense. Almost like she was worried I would ask to buy a Rolex. But they have other brands within the same store, Tudor, IWC, but I went straight to the Panerai section. I'm still looking to try on the Panerai that Dubai Expat showed on his channel. This one is not it, but I think it's the closest one they had in stock. It's 40 millimeters, but I think I still prefer the 38 millimeter watch that I tried on in New York City. I still don't know very much about Panerai, but apparently they made watches for the Italian Navy, but that's not a positive selling point for me. But check out the recent video on Oddpout's channel where he gave a nice overview of Panerai. But I am done with the big cities and watch shopping for now. After a few days, the noise and congestion and traffic all gets to me. I need some time to recover my senses, get back into nature, get back to the forest and the lake, and maybe some hiking and camping. So that's what I'll be doing in my next videos, and no more traveling for now. But shout out to Stuart Logan 9894 who correctly guessed this city based on my thumbnail.